Hello everyone, myself Hardi Bora, and today's my presentation topic is Echoes of Resistance, Revthi's Letter, and the Maoist Struggle in the Ministry of Utmost Happiness. Here are my personal details, table of content, and my hypothesis is Arundhati Roy's Ministry of Utmost Happiness challenges the mainstream narrative of Maoist insurgency by humanizing its participants, particularly through the character of Revthi. Her letters serves as a crucial narrative device that expose both the ideological aspirations and the her movement, which highlighting the human cost of revolution, state repression, and the emotional turmoil of armed resistance. My research question is: how does Revthi's character contribute to nuanced representation of Maoism in the Ministry of Utmost Happiness? Uh, let's start with the introduction. Brief introduction of the novel. It is published in 2017, and it was Arundhati Roy's first novel in 20 years. The work blends personal stories with the topical issues as it uses a large cast of characters, including a transgendered woman and a resistance fighter in Kashmir to explore contemporary India. Uh, 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 novels genres political fiction, literary fiction, and magic realism. Its narrative structure fragmented and non-linear narrative, which weaving multiple stories and perspectives. Themes included identity, gender fluidity, caste oppression, political resistance, environmental degradation, and love in conflict ridden in India. Uh, protagonist uh, un- protagonist is Anjum, a transgender woman who establishes a sanctuary in a graveyard in Old Delhi. Political narrative style blends with the poetic prose with a journalistic realism and interweaving the personal and political narratives. Um, in the novel, Maoism representation in the character of Revthi, which is the minor character, and who is a Maoist rebel. She also symbolizes resistance against the state oppression and marginalized struggles. Jantar Mantar and protest culture highlights the significance of India's protest sites in shaping socio-political discourse. Kashmir conflict depicts the brutal realities of insurgency in military and occupation and the erasure of Kashmiri voices. It also symbolizes the novel's title suggested a utopian vision amid dystopian realities. What is the Maoism? The brief overview of Maoism in India. The CPI Maoist seeks to overthrow the Indian state through agrarian armed revolution inspired by Mao Tse-tung's thoughts. The movement has expanded across one third of India's territory with strong network in forests and urban areas. Maoist possesses sophisticated arms, intelligence networks, and conduct the counter-offensive of attack on security forces and civilians. The Indian government acknowledges Maoism as the biggest internal security challenge, which posing serious threats to governance. Government efforts in development and security have had limited success in countering Maoist propaganda and psychological warfare. Um, in the context of Revthi, a former Maoist rebel in the Ministry of Atmosphere embodiment of the human costs of ideological resistance. Her letter is both deeply personal and political charged, which reflecting on themes of sacrifice, betrayal, and the brutality of state. Through her narrative, Roy highlights the immense suffering endured by rebels, including torture, loss, and disillusionment, which revealing the heavy toll of armed struggle. Revti's story delves into the ideological depth of the Maoist movement, which exposing its foundation in systematic oppression while also acknowledging its entang- entanglement in cycles of violence. By portraying her tragic journey, Roy critiques not only states ruthlessness, suppression of dissent, but also the paradoxes and limitations of revolutionary movement, which questioning the ultimate prize of resistance. Second, the Revti's character, the personal and the political in Maoist representation. Revti was a former Maoist rebel in the Ministry of Utmost Happiness, represent intersection of personal suffering and political resistance. She endures state of brutality, betrayal, and displacement, aligning with Maoist ideology as a means of challenging systematic oppression. Revti embodies both the vulnerability and rebels facing persecution and their agency in resisting state power through the armed struggle. Her story disturbs the conventional portrayal of Maoists as mere aggressor, aggressors, revealing the deeper socio-political motivations behind that fight. Significance in the novel through the Revti, Roy humanizes the Maoist movement, which exposing the structural violence that fuels insurgency and questioning the cost of revolutionary resistance. Moreover, Amir Shaheen uh, has written in his article, Maoists, the freedom fighter of the forest, are declared terrorists by the government of India. They are the people who suffer at the hand of government oppression by being killed, starved, and devoid of their basic rights. Comrade Revthi is a character who is tortured and repeatedly raped by the policemen for her elegance with the Maoist party. She gives up her baby so that another person won't be at the disposal of the party or the policeman to be used to either a pound and revenge. She established rules according to which all Maoists should live and saved her daughter from a terrible fate. Another in the Kumar article, he wrote in the novel, namely there are another two minor character, Jahanara and Mariam, Revthi under and Revthi undergo the physical and mental hardships due to their daughters. They put their own identities at the stake of affirm their respective daughters' personal and social identities. Jahanara gives birth to hermaphrodite, namely Anjum. Mariam's daughter Tilo is born out wedlock, and Revthi's daughter Miss Udaya Jabin is a outcome of a brutal rape by six policemen. The mothers are benevolent, whereas the Orthodox society and malevolent towards them. Jahanara suffers trauma, so does her daughter Anjum. Mariam disowns her illegitimate daughter Tilo and bears physical distress in her early life and mental anguish in the later part of her life. Tilo also faces the hardships of life throughout the novel. And finally, Revati tolerates the brutal rape, and her daughter, Miss Udaya Jabin, suffer identity crisis in her infancy. Roy presents her woman character as the victims of the Indian patriarchal society. Third one is Revati's letter, uh, which is came in the ending part of the novel. Revati's reflected in her letter that reveals a deep contemplation on the revolution, love, and the betrayal she faces from both comrades and the state. Critics of state brutality, uh, she exposes the relentless attacks upon rebels and marginalized communities. Internal Maoist contradictions uh, in the letter highlights the ideological fractures, mistrust, and betrayal within the Maoist movement itself. Emotional weight and disillusionment, in her words, carry the pain of loss, shattered idealism, and the grim realization of the movement's limitations. Symbolism of the letter, in it stands as both personal lament and a political document, which questioning the cost of futility of revolutionary struggle. Fourth one is human cost and ideological dissonance in the novel. State violence and silencing of Maoists exposes the brutal suppression of dissent, portraying judicial killings, torture, and the systematic erasure of Maoist voices from mainstream discourse. Revti's symbolism embodies the existential crisis within revolutionary movements, which tone between ideological conviction and the personal cost of resistance. Paradox of resistance highlights the tension between the idealism and revolutionary change, and the harsh reality of suffering, disillusionment, and betrayal within both the state and the movement itself. A human cost of rebellion in the novel that underscores the sacrifice made by rebels' physical suffering, loss of identity, and alienation, which questioning whatever the pursuit of justice justifies such personal destruction. Moral ambiguity present a nuanced critic, per, um, re- uh, refusing to romanticize either the state of the Maoists, and instead exposing the moral complexity of armed resistance. In the conclusion, Revti's narrative compels us to rethink the Maoism beyond ideological rhetoric, shedding light on the deeply personal struggles and moral dilemmas and human cost of armed resistance. Through her story, the novel challenges uh, monolithic portrayals of Maoist insurgents, offering a nuanced perspective of that highlight their vulnerabilities, aspiration, and sacrifice. And at the end, ultimately, Revti's journey underscores the paradox of revolution and how the pursuit of justice can be entangled with betrayal and suffering. Her story serves as a poignant reminder that ideological warfare is not just a fought of battlefields, but within the hearts of those who endure its consequences, which questioning whether the promise of change is ever worth the price paid. Here are my works cited, and thank you. Now you are, if you have a question, you are free to.
Question is, how does Revti's story challenge the conventional portrayal of Maoist rebellion in mainstream narratives?
Okay, so which Devti's story, Devti's stories challenges we she wrote a letter to before he dies. In that letter he in that letter she expressed all the dilemmas and expressed the brutality which she felt, and then as a Maoist rebel in the mainstream narrative, and that conventional portrayal in the narratives.
Hardi, my question is how does being a mother shape Revti's journey and how does it create a conflict between her beliefs and her emotions?
Uh, when Reiki gave a birth to her daughter, and uh, gave a birth to daughter, and he gave up on her, and that state of conflict between her beliefs and emotions was uh, the conflict between beliefs and her emotion. Thank you.